Good afternoon and welcome to the JB Show on the Revolutionary Blackout Network. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of you and just remind you that the JB Show is streaming every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can also catch me on the RBN Roundtable on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I host my own channel called the JB Font Channel on the Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during the week. Please make sure to give this channel and video a thumbs up, as well as please subscribe if you are new. Also, I'd like for you to click that little bell icon because really the algorithm just doesn't like us. And so it's really important that you click that bell icon so that you're notified whenever we go live every single day. So I just want to say hello to everybody that's in the chat today. I would like to say my hellos to CBC voter Panquake. Yes, definitely. Panquake also, CBC voter also says anyone that wants to see what is happening in Ottawa convoy trucks after JB show, go to Viva Fry on YouTube. Okay, thank you very much for that. Hello, Terry. Good to see you. Welcome as well, Gary. I hope I wasn't shadow banned, but you never know with these tech giants. You know, they're sneaky little rascals. Uh, but it's good that you found me. Uncle Warren, good to see you looking in here. Eric, is good to see you. Ah, man, Eric, you humble me, man. You humble me. Thank you so much for all of that. Cicely, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Nice to have you here as well. All right. Another James Donaldson. Biden paid a lot for those Nazis. We're going to get into that as well a little bit. I'd like to welcome you also. It's good to see you to have another James here. Guess what? We Jameses, we make the world go around, baby. That's what it's all about. Stephen, good to see you. Hello, comrade. Ashura, good seeing you as well. Nick says, what is up, JB and comrades? Glad to see you today. Glad to see you too, Nick. Good to have you as well. Nice to see you in here. Gary says, so I've been thinking I'm apt to do a Sunday afternoon. The maybe activist movement have it all wrong. I'm not sure what that's about, but it's still good to see you. Let me see. Corey. Yeah, we're going to end up talking about that as well. It's some deep stuff that we're talking about today. And Ghost of Christmas. Hello from Wisconsin. Hi, good to meet you as well. Welcome. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Just kick it. So just I gotta bring a little light on the show today. Gotta be a little lighthearted, despite some really deep stuff that we're gonna be talking about. Radical Leftist Agenda. Good to see you. Hi. Good to see you as well. Got to give my country wave hello. Because we got some of our family out there that live out in the rural areas in the country, and we got all love for you too. Shout out to not just my people in the city, but also to my people in the rural areas. I want to say hello to you too, and just to let you know, we love you out there. We don't get to see you as much, but we still love you. And Leroy, my homie. So good to see you. I still got to get that skin regimen up to par because I got to get mine smooth like yours. Homeboy up in here looking like cocoa butter. All right, Lawrence. So good to see you as well. Quicker. Come on, homie. Good to see you. All right. It's so good to see all of you in here today. We're Pilgrim. Hey, all right. Bluebird, I was waiting for you. Good. Bluebird, so good to see you. Bluebird says South Africa now has its own mRNA vax jab. I didn't say that. Moderna and others refuse to share technology, and rich countries bought up the available jabs. It's good to see that South Africa has gained some independence. I agree. Um, I would love to see them as far as their healthcare system on the same level as Cuba. I think that'd be pretty awesome. Of course, you know what the United States would do. Seems like you need some democracy over there, huh? That's what the United States would do. Yeah. Um, Jenna, so good to see you as well. By the way, guys, I'm kind of drawing out this welcome right now because this is a really deep subject, and I'm kind of dreading actually talking about it because I I rather talk about happy things, but I got to do my job here, so I just want to get some good stuff and to kind of cushion the deep stuff they're going to be talking about. So please just spare me for a second as I say my hellos to everybody and try to be as welcoming as possible. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do right now. Um, Internet Rando. Big ups, JB, and hello to RB fam. Thank you so much. So nice to meet you. Um, and welcome. Sit back and relax. Okay. I'm trying to think of which story to start off with, to be honest with you. Um, I'm gonna have to just start off with it. Yeah, I have no choice. I'm gonna have to talk about Amir Locke. I'm gonna have to talk about him. But then on top of that, we're gonna have to talk about Nazis being armed by the United States government. These stories, I don't want to be used to them by now. I don't. This white supremacy and this colonialism and imperialism and capitalism is such a cancer to the point where you have people who say the most accurate thing who happen to be famous. And then because of the shaming, inaccurate shaming from these same people who applaud the occupying military forces in our country, that person feels cornered to just apologize for saying something that's so accurate. And then a friend to the show is now getting threats in their DMs because of saying something accurately describing the police forces within our country. I'm with you, Danny Haifong. I'm with you. Because you said nothing wrong. And to Susan Sarandon, you shouldn't have apologized. You shouldn't have. To the point where I get it though, because you have people who say you have to who happen to be famous. You have to, I don't know, you're a famous person and people will come after you for any other thing that you do, especially if you're a class trader and trying to, you know, be more of a helpful voice to those of us that are disenfranchised. I want to give a warm welcome to my brother CJ. This is going to be a very deep subject that we're talking about here today. And I just want to say, hey, CJ, it's good to see you.
What's up, my brother? How you doing, JB?
Yeah, welcome to the JB show.
What's up, man?
Um, as you can probably see, there's some deep subjects that we're talking about today. Um, the United States does a number on the world, I tell you. um, yeah, hang on. To Ashura, just letting you know that Susan Sarandon retweeted a meme that basically called the huge collective amount of police that were meeting in New York for a funeral. Uh, that was more just a show of power. It wasn't really just a solidarity for one police officer. Like I've seen way smaller police funerals than that. It was
Mm.
obviously that's what it was. And Susan Sarandon accurately retweeted a meme that basically called it a show of fascism, which let's be real, that's exactly what it was. But then a lot of fascist sympathizers basically were like, oh, well, you shouldn't have said that. You're wrong for that. And next thing you know, Susan Sarandon folded and apologized. And I think that she shouldn't have. But I also get it because she's in the public eye. But at the same time, she wasn't wrong in what she originally said. So I just want to bring you up to speed on that. Um, and the original tweet that was tweeted out by it was by friends of the show, Danny Haiphong. And he's also getting threats about it now. And it's like, wait, so now you're threatening him, even though it's supposed to be a force that is supposed to serve and protect, but yet now you're getting people who want to threaten your life from people who are supposed to serve and protect. And it is crazy because it's supposed to be freedom of speech, and yet you want to threaten somebody for their speech. Okay, all right, pot meet kettle. So that's just what it was. CJ, just a question: have you heard about the story of Amir Locke?
Yes, I have. Briefly or not briefly. I haven't seen all the details, but I do know about the story.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be on the story today. The other story that we're talking about is how the United States government is actually arming Nazis in Ukraine.
It's ridiculous.
Um, this isn't the first time the United States has done dealings with Nazis in a favorable way for them. So just to let you guys know that. And then also we're going to be talking about how capitalism has basically, well, we've all known that it took control of the healthcare system, but it's taken an even further control of the healthcare system. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Um, so CJ,
Hmm.
you're my guest today. Which story would you like to start off with first? I know.
uh, we could start out with the Amir story. I mean, we could do that first if we want to
Okay.
get the more heavy stuff, done first.
Okay. All right. So the story of Amir Locke. In case anybody doesn't know, I'm going to share my screen really quick, just so that everybody is privy to what happened. Um, you know what? I'm not going to show the video. I'm not going to show that video because we've seen it happen too many times. I'm not going to do that, but I will show the news report about it.
I didn't know there was a video. I don't watch these. I don't watch the videos ever when
Yeah,
they come out. So
yeah. There's a body cam video, um, but I'm going to show the news
uh,
report. And this is from CBS Minnesota. It said protesters gather in downtown Minneapolis in the wake of police shooting of Amir Locke. Um, and it says protesters have gathered outside the Hennepin County Government Center. Um, and hang on. there was a, gosh, sorry about that. This needs to be reloaded. Okay. All right.
News, Minnesota. Today's demonstration comes 3 days after the SWAT team raid inside a downtown apartment. We have team coverage for you tonight as we learn more about Locke's death and the powerful response from the community. We're going to start with David Schumann, who was there as Locke's family spoke today. David?
Amir Locke's father spoke for about half an hour to a crowd of hundreds of people, maybe 1,000. What all those people want was made clear today for Officer Mark Hanneman, who shot Amir, to be fired and criminally charged, for acting Minneapolis Police Chief Amelia Huffman to be fired, and for Mayor Jacob Frey to resign.
How dare you take my son from me and his mother?
Andre Locke, who goes by Buddy, shared publicly Saturday the deep pain and sorrow he's feeling after the death of his son Amir.
It's not easy to have to bury your son. I'm gonna miss cracking jokes with my boy. I'm gonna miss calling him to find out what's the best, who's rocking in the music.
Body camera video shows a Minneapolis SWAT officer shooting Amir 3 times Wednesday morning while carrying out a no-knock search warrant as part of a murder investigation. Amir wasn't named on the warrant.
What were you going to say, CJ?
I said I'm not watching the video cam, so I'm just going to go off camera for a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
His aunt, Linda, isn't satisfied with what's been made public so far.
Where are the rest of the cameras that we haven't seen that have been recorded? We want all the footage.
No-knock warrants are known to be high risk, and Mayor Jacob Frey has imposed a moratorium on them, except if there's a, quote, imminent threat of harm. Signs at Saturday's protest called for banning no-knock warrants altogether.
They're setting up this dynamic where people are seeing the other as a threat. And we've got to reimagine some of those interactions so that both law enforcement and people at large aren't put in these positions where someone is a threat and potentially having to use force.
The Minneapolis officers were helping with a St. Paul investigation, so an SPPD deputy chief was the one who approved the warrant in question. But sources tell WCCO it was Minneapolis that insisted on it being no-knock. An MPD spokesperson said each warrant process is completed on an individual case-by-case basis. We've also learned through sources that Judge Peter Kale was the judge who signed off on the no-knock warrant. Last year, Kale oversaw the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis officer convicted of murdering George Floyd.
All right. Thank you, David, for the update. Locke.
Y'all heard that last part, right? So that's an update of what happened. He was 22 years old, and he was a licensed gun owner. Here is the protest that happened yesterday. Just to let you guys see. No need for sound. But this is the people that were marching yesterday. CJ, this is no stranger. This types of stories are no stranger to you.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were passing it.
And I mean, the mere fact that, and I did see the video. If police barged into my house while I am dead asleep, and I hear the noise, and I'm afraid that it's an intruder coming into my house and I have my firearm right near me, who wouldn't reach for it? Who wouldn't? And yet, they did a no-knock warrant. He wasn't on the warrant at all. Like, what the hell? You know? It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I just get tired of it, you know? CJ?
Yeah, so I have quite a bit to say on this. If you don't mind, I would like to just share something
Sure.
as part of my answer to start off my answer.
Sure.
Just thought of this because it's important. So I just want to play this before I give what I have to say about this.
If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for us.
And simply put, I'm gonna need some time, JB.
Okay. All right. I got you.
I'm having flashbacks. I'm having flashbacks of my cousin.
I'm sorry. You see the lynching happening all the time. And then there's outrage. And then you have people who are supposedly in power that are going, oh, we need to fight for against this. This is horrible. Let's find the people who killed our people more. Oh, we just got to do more training. Look, let's be real here. What did police start out as? Slave catchers. That was their prime directive, to catch slaves. What makes you think that their directive has changed? And people want to, and what do you say to people like CJ? What do you say to them? What do you say to people like Amir Locke's family? What do you say to George Floyd's family? What do you say to them? And right-wingers, a lot of them, are defending the police. Like, what? And there's a larger thing that needs to be spoken about here. People always talk about the Second Amendment. What Second Amendment? The Second Amendment only exists for one portion of this country. It doesn't exist for both. It doesn't exist for us. Because the moment we exercise our Second Amendment right, we're gone. We're killed. And I hate to put it like this, but a bunch of white people in camo that show up at a Capitol building have so much more rights than me unarmed with my black skin.
All right, I'm gonna try to get through this here.
And if you can't, that's okay too, man. I don't know what you've been through in that way, but I sympathize with you. And so,
Yeah.
if you need me to, go to the next story, I can definitely do that too. I got you.
No, this is the reason why I wanted to get this story out of the way, and and this is the reason why I don't cover these topics on my show, because I can't get through these topics. But
I should have warned you before, and I apologize.
This young man is dead. There'd be a whole lot of outrage, protest. A bunch of white people will feel sorry and have sorrow, and then they'll go to brunch the following week, and nothing happens. But think about the trauma of that reoccurring to a community. Like the level of trauma on top of trauma, and you're not being having this trauma treated. So, but what's unique, or what's not shocking but unsurprising to me, is that a person's life is gone, and then we may put a stop to no-knock warrants.
Yeah.
But not in special cases. The whole point of no-knock warrants is special cases. So they're trying to tell you special on top of special, which is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all lip service. None of this stuff changes. Oh, we're going to ban chokeholds. Did George Floyd get killed by a chokehold? Was this young man killed by a chokehold? What does that do?
Yeah.
Are you going to ban racist cops? That's what we need. Ban some racists, actually ban all cops, but at the start with banning racist cops. How about that? Or how about this? No one with an irrational fear of black people should be a police officer. That wipes out pretty much about 95% of all the white people that are police officers. If you have an irrational fear, you're heavily armed. This person is laying and move somewhere. You're that afraid that you feel him like this with bullets. That's an irrational fear of black people. Jacob Blake walking to his car with no weapon, kids in the car, and you shoot him. That's an irrational fear of black people. You have an irrational fear for several reasons. One, you absolutely know, just with the video show, you absolutely know what's going on in this country. You absolutely know what's happening to black people, and you don't want no part of it, and you keep your fucking mouth closed. Then you want to go, America, exceptionalism, fuck you. I'm sorry, JB, if you don't normally use profanity on your show, but this shit, man, and nothing's gonna happen. Let's not act like something's gonna happen. Literally, this is the same place that George Floyd died. And what has happened? What has happened? And the mayor, the same mayor, is talking about, oh, a moratorium. That means it's just a pause on no-knock warrants. No-knock warrants, in my opinion, are given so that they can kill someone. They want it to be high risk so they can have a reason to kill this person. That's the reason for no-knock warrants. Because what's the difference in no knocking and you saying, the police is here? Is he going to reach whether you jump in the house or whether you say police is here? What is the difference? You're taking away the risk, but they don't want to take the rate of risk. They want the risk elevated so they can kill the person.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. No-knock warrants are just a means to kill the bad guy, without going through the proper channels of the judicial system. It's an easy out for extrajudicial killings. We got him. We got the son of a bitch. That's exactly what it basically is. But you know what's funny about it? Think about Breonna Taylor. Think about Fred Hampton. They were killed in the same fashion. And so you're sitting here thinking about all the bad guys, but from what it looks like, it seems like most of the bad guys are the ones that got the badge and the gun. And who signed off on the warrant for this raid to happen? The same judge that oversaw the George Floyd case. It is systemic. It is the entire system. Let me paint a picture for you. What if an entire system was devoted to oppressing you based on how much melanin you had in your skin? You couldn't go anywhere that you wanted to as far as living. People looked at you like you were dangerous just because of your skin. People reject you from jobs or pay you less. People will operate on you without anesthesia because they think that you do not experience pain. Or they neglect some of your medical ailments because they think, oh, well, because you're just not as prone to pain. Your women experience death higher because of some complications that may be easy to solve, but because they don't listen to them because of the color of their skin. The police officers kill your people at a higher rate. Imagine having white kids, and as soon as they start to get some hair on their face or start to grow a more womanly form, and you have to have a sit-down talk with them of how to talk to the police. That they can, have to be extremely careful, that you worry about them being out when the street lights come on, because you're not afraid of some hoodlum out there. You're afraid of somebody with a badge and a gun getting to them. I've had to have the talk with my nephew. He's 17, 6'1", got hair on his face. And I have to worry about him whenever he has to go home, when he comes to visit me, to have, we talk about life and stuff. And I have to worry about him. TJ, I know you've had to talk with your parents.
Yeah. It's even when you're having to talk as a child or a kid, you don't realize the significance until you get older of what they were telling you. But as long as you follow what they're telling you, you should be should be okay, except for instances like Breonna Taylor and Amir Locke, where you're like, what are we doing, bro? We're at home, sleep. We can't be black at home, sleep.
No, we can't.
And the
Not in this
thing
system.
and the excuses that right wingers, white people, white culture makes is absurd. And I don't, and to be quite frank with you, I think they're just kind of giving a reason. I don't believe half the white people believe the nonsense, because if they were in the same positions, could you imagine if white kids was getting killed? The number of white people that will be at the damn police department tearing shit down? Like, this ain't happening. What is this? With their own guns? Start killing a bunch of white kids and see how many white people come up to the police department armed. See if that happened. But there's one more video that sums it up better than me, and that's this white outrage. Where is the white outrage? Sister Soldier puts it best right here. Listen to this.
Senator Bradley of the all-white United States Senate said we can't get there unless we all go there together. Sorry, none of us are where he is. That's number one. Number two, you're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. Right. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them.
And a young shout out to a young Cornell West there. But that's my question for this. Black people get murdered. Do you understand the level of disconnect and departmentalizing you're doing for you not to be upset that humans are being unjustly killed, and you just sit at home and rationalize that shit to your fucking self? Do you know how it's a white culture, there's two cultures that white people have been grown to be fine with, and it started from the inception of this country. You're fine with them murdering the indigenous population. You're fine with them. You get what I'm saying? Like, not every white person owned slaves. The majority didn't. All of y'all are fine with all this shit going on? Like, what are you doing? Where is the white outrage? It conditioned white people. It made them like be fine with the entire completely different world happening right in their backyard, and don't care and have the audacity to say things like America's a great country, America's freedom, all this other nonsense, as long as it doesn't apply to people of color. They say this, and this is how they talk, because when they're talking, they're not talking about people of color. When they're describing America, they're never including people of color, because they couldn't say those things. You can't call America a land of the free when there's segregation, when there's Jim Crow. So what do? You don't even apply that to that section of people.
I have an answer for your question. It's because that America still hasn't got to the point where they saw people like you and me as fully human. That's what it is. They see us as partially human because they feel like, oh, well, you guys know better and things like that. But when it comes to being fully human, we're still not there yet. And one of the things that I appreciate that you shared a clip from the lecture from Dr. Joy DeGray.
Yes.
I saw that lecture years ago about post-traumatic slave syndrome, as she calls it.
Yes.
And I highly recommend anybody who wants to get a synopsis of why we are viewed in the ways that we are viewed and why our community behaves in some of the ways that it does. Spoiler alert, untreated post-traumatic stress that has been coming down over generations, by the way. And so that's used as justification to treat us in an animalistic way. I highly recommend you. It's about an hour and a half. It's not that much longer than our live streams.
It's pretty good.
But it's a great thing, and I listened to it for the second time yesterday. And Dr. Joy, as I like to call her, because I don't want to mispronounce her last name, puts it in such a succinct way. And she talks about how even in our science books and journals, it dehumanized Black people so that people, white people, especially in this country, were okay with treating us in a certain way. Because it was in our scientific novels that dehumanized us and said, well, Black people just naturally don't feel pain. These were what the doctors were saying. These were what the scientists were saying. These were the people who were regarded for their critical thought were saying. And so we still haven't gotten out of that. And so, of course, the institution known as the police force within the United States still treats us like we're not fully human. You know who gets treated like they're fully human? A straight white male. That's who gets treated like they're fully human. In fact, if you look at all the medical documentaries and medical textbooks, typically who's the model? Straight white male. They didn't even really start anything. Like, for instance, she talks about the father of gynecology. And you know how he studied, the female anatomy? He started off with slave women. And he didn't use any anesthesia on these slave women when he decided to use the prongs that went into the vagina to examine the vagina. So guess what? Even women are being plagued by this white supremacy and patriarchy. I don't want to veer too far off the subject, but I just wanted to show, and then when I was alluding to about Second Amendment rights, that we basically don't have them here in the United States. Black people don't have them. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of militia groups talk about, government tyranny. Who experiences more government tyranny than Black people? Latino Rifle Association. They put out a statement. They said Amir Locke was murdered. Amir Locke was murdered for the crime of being Black under the American police state. Minneapolis Police Department conducted a no-knock raid, did not identify themselves, and used the pretext of Locke's legally owned handgun being near his person to murder an innocent man who was not even named in the warrant. This is no surprise, of course, to the millions of Black and brown people who know such harsh realities intimately. The Latino Rifle Association offers its unconditional support, as it always has, to those who fight against the systemic violence. At the end of the day, the preservation and defense of our communities is at the core of what we do. Rest in power, Amir. That was from the Latino Rifle Association.
JB, let me say this. This has been on my mind about this. I was just thinking about this yesterday. what I do a lot of times, I fantasize if I had a lot of money about, oh, I would do this for the revolution. And I was thinking yesterday, 100,000 men, 100,000 black men, registered gun owners. If I had the money, I would do that. I'm gonna register 100,000 black men legally to carry weapons. And that's what I would do, because that's what we need to do. This idea of being afraid of weapons, guns, no. And we need to start I don't know what we would call it, a black rifle association. I'm serious. Like, that's going to be in the works. I'm going to start talking to Rome. This shit is ridiculous, because we have to protect ourselves. Clearly, we have to protect ourselves. Clearly. Because so for me, this is the first step towards having those conversations, some sort of rifle association, gun association, register 100,000 black men, gun owners. That's it. That's the next thing for me.
You'll see gun reform so fast in the United States. I'm serious. Like, even comedians talked about it. Like, I think it was it Dave Chappelle or was it Chris Rock? One of them. They said because it happened before. What happened with when all the Black Panthers started arming themselves with rifles?
That's what happened. You know what Ronald Reagan did when he was the governor? Like literally, like the next week, 2 weeks, that shit was over. That's not happening again. Like, they're not gonna have they know they're not about to have a bunch of black people walking around armed, knowing all the shit they did to us. They know what the fuck's going on. They know they don't want us armed because they're afraid that we're gonna rise up. This is actually their concept, white supremacy concept worldwide. This is why they're always talking about our interests. This is why they're always talking about it's what's the military word of interest, where it's not in their military interest, right? So, like, you can't have no base in Mexico. Like Russia can't have a base in Mexico. Oh, or Africa can't have a base. Like, you can't, none of these countries can get this close to the United States, because the United States is afraid that one day all these people is going to rise up and do what they did and get what they deserve. And that includes here too. And it's the same sort of concept. Why white people, they know why black people are upset. You get what I'm saying? Don't believe the shit that are coming out their mouths. They're just talking that bullshit for the masses. They know exactly what's going on, and they don't care.
And I want to say this to our allies, white allies. We know that you're talking to your family members, and we know you're saying and people in your life that you know. And what CJ wants to do, just let them know that they're tired. We're tired. And that's one of the reasons why we feel like we have to protect ourselves, because we don't really get protection. It's rules for thee, but not for me. It's,
Imagine this, JB. Imagine, let's put women in the position of black people. So let's just substitute the things that are happening to black people and just put the word woman. How many people would stand for if the police department had targets on women's back and they were shooting women in the back for walking back to the car while their kids were in the thing, and they were choking women out on the fucking streets? You get what I'm saying? Because we're conditioned to think black people are less than, even when we're using black people to talk about it, it's still hard. Substitute it with somebody else and you see the emotions in you change. You get what I'm saying? You go, women, oh, a woman getting shot in the back? A woman, all this shit happened to women? And when women are saying, we have a target, all these police are coming after us. Do you understand the difference that it would be?
Yeah.
We have to stop asking. We have to. There's no more asking for shit. We're gonna get our shit registered, and we're gonna protect ourselves. That's it. Like that's it. We're gonna get registered weapons, multiple, and we're gonna be here to protect ourselves.
I just wanted to, make sure there's clarification that, it's not that, women aren't targeted by police. It's a lot of times it's black women. But what you mean is another group that's seen as, I guess what you mean is a group that's more seen as
a threat, because you know what I'm saying. Like black people are seen as a physical threat, even without a weapon.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to do was pick it. I didn't want to pick children because I thought the example would have been terrible. So I was trying to pick women as an example, just to kind of be opposite. So you'll get, because we have the stigma that black people are a threat. I was trying to pick a group that people don't see as a physical threat. And you'll see how it's a difference in understanding of even what's even happening to that group. Like there would just be a difference. What I'm trying to point out, maybe the example was bad. What I'm trying to point out is that even in having these discussions, because all of us, even black people, even me, because we've been so conditioned to believe that black people are criminals and bad.
Yeah.
Even in the discussion of talking about this, it could be more productive to just substitute with someone else, a different group, so you can really see how your reaction would be different if this group that was under attack wasn't black. So it's to prove 2 points. It's to prove that all of us have this way we look at black people, even black people, that we don't view any other group.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to do with the analogy. But yeah, that was it.
Yeah. I just look, and I understand what you mean, Noli. I and I don't think that it was said that they aren't targeted by police as far as like the shootings and guns, things like that. That I think that's
we're talking about shootings. I didn't say the word violence. We're talking about shootings.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
that was my example.
Yeah, but let's be
shootings,
real.
Yeah.
Women definitely are targeted by police, and especially when it comes to sexual assault, and that should be.
Listen, if you're trying to get me, I'm not. If you're trying to get me, JB, or this person is trying to get me to equate black people dying by the police hundreds of years to this, you're not. It's almost offensive to me that
Okay. That's okay. I just was trying to clarify.
Sorry, it dropped. I was saying what I was saying is basically that I get that you're pointing out that police treat everybody terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying, but the context of what we're talking about is black people being murdered, shot, killed by the police. That's the context. If we're talking about the police and how they abuse everybody, we can talk about everybody, how they abuse. We can talk about the indigenous people, what they do to the indigenous people. We can talk about rural whites. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was just trying to offer. I was just trying to offer clarification, as to what you were saying, because I didn't want it to make it seem like that you were putting one above the other. In that sense, you were basically saying that you were just using an analogy as to how people, view, like, for instance, if something bad happens to a woman within the United States, particularly a white woman, they typically have more of an outcry versus, say, a black man being shot.
Right.
It tends to happen in that way. It seems to be, in that way. But at the same time, this is not to discount what happens to women by police within this country as well. I mean, there was a story a few weeks ago about a woman they stormed into her house and she was completely naked, and she was held at gunpoint, and they went to the wrong house. So yes, they definitely are. I just wanted to make sure that I was clarifying that that wasn't your intention. That's what I was basically trying to make sure.
I get it. I'm not really responding to you. I was responding to Noah. I get it. Just understand, not you, but your audience or the audience, understand, like, if I'm speaking about black people and the analogy I give you don't like, quite frankly, I don't care. I'm here advocating for black people with this murder. And it's because JB, I don't particularly like this person I don't particularly like if I'm speaking about something as important as this and I give an analogy and now you want to go, well, what about this? Did I say women are not being terribly treated here? Like, I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not putting some sort of disclaimer. I'm not doing that. I'm speaking about black people, and the analogy I gave was the analogy I gave. I'm not making any apologies about any other group. That is absurd. You get what I'm saying? This is taken away from that, and I'm not doing that. So if you don't like, I'm not talking to you, Jay, but anybody, if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. People are dying. My cousin was shot dead. So the analogy I'm using is the analogy I'm using. And if you can't be fine with that, that's a you problem.
I got you.
We have to be unapologetically black. We have to be. Because if we don't, no one is stepping up for us. No one.
I understand. We spent an hour on this subject. I'm ready to move on. Just to let you know that the Socialist Rifle Association also expressed solidarity with Amir Locke and his family, by the way. So from one deep subject to another. Gosh. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. This is the United States. The CIA may be breeding Nazi terror in Ukraine.
That's so American, JB. That is so American. Like, anything's up for sale. Anything is up for sale.
Yeah, that's the statement of the year. This is a article by Branko Marketic. It says the CIA has been secretly training anti-Russian groups in Ukraine since 2015. Everything we know points to the likelihood that includes neo-Nazis inspiring far-right terrorists across the world. Now, this neo-Nazi group is called the Azov Regiment. And this picture on here was taken in 2020. And it says here, given the facts, there's a good chance that the CIA is training actual literal Nazis as part of this effort. The year the program started was in 2015. Also happened to be the same year that Congress passed a spending bill that features hundreds of millions of dollars worth of economic and military support for Ukraine. By the way, this was in 2015. Who was the president in 2015?
Barack Obama, JB.
I'm sorry. Repeat that again for me, please.
Barack Hussein Obama.
For the people in the back.
Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama.
Mm-hmm. Giving support to neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And this happened all the way through who? Donald J. Trump. And it's continuing to happen with who? Joe Biden.
That's some good bipartisanship there.
That is some great bipartisanship. It's lovely. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. Says, despite sometimes open acknowledgement of its Nazism, the former commander once said that his historic mission of Ukraine is to lead the white races of the world in a final crusade for their survival and a crusade against the Semite-led. I'm not even going to say that word because this is going to be too hard to say. It says, given all this, it would be more of a surprise that the neo-Nazis of Azov haven't been trained by CIA's clandestine make an insurgency program. And we already seen clearly signs of blowback. So the United States is doing that. Let me make sure I have this. There was a. Oh, okay. I found it. All right. So there was a press conference that was recently done. And I'm not sure if you saw this, but I want you to see this as well.
Okay.
This is, yep, Ned Price. You know him.
This guy, yeah. Terrible.
But I want to give credit to Matt Lee for actually being a journalist. So let's watch.
Thanks. Okay, well, that's quite a mouthful there. So you said actions such as these suggest otherwise. Suggest meaning that they suggest they're not interested in talks and they're going to go ahead with some kind of a. What action are you talking about?
One, the actions I've just pointed to. The fact that Russia continues to engage in disinformation campaigns.
You made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what I've just said, that they have engaged in this activity, in this planning activity. But let me because obviously this is not the first time we've made these reports public. You'll remember that just a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry, made what report public?
If you'll let me finish, I will tell you what report we made public. We told you a few weeks ago that we have information indicating Russia also has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really. This is like Alex Jones territory. You're getting. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
He's losing his cool. You see him?
From information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
No, you didn't.
No, you made a series of allegations and statements.
Would you like us to print out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying it. That's not evidence. I'm sorry. I would like to see some proof that you can show.
Look at him.
That
you're messing this up.
That shows that the Russians are doing this. Ned, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know, that was my point. You have been doing this for quite a while. You know that when we declassify intelligence information, we do so in a means. We do so with an eye to protecting sources and methods.
Hang on, I just want to bring this out, and I think Nick would love to talk about this as well. This for the entire audience, this is Ned Price getting owned. Ned Price is actually getting owned by a journalist, and to all you journalists and mainstream media out there, this is how the job is supposed to be done. So watch and learn, take notes, because homeboy out here is schooling him, and he's not even sweating. He's like, give me evidence. And Ned Price is trying to circle around it. He's like, no, that's not evidence. Give me evidence. You're just saying it. It's like, trust me, bro. Like, no, give me the evidence. And you know what? They fucked up when they taught us that we actually need evidence. They did it with especially a lot of those different type of like cop shows. Yeah. And they did a lot with those court shows. And they were like, you have to have, irrefutable evidence. Guess what? Y'all fucked up. Because guess what? Now we're applying the same shit to the government. We're like, okay, give us evidence. And now you see people like Ned Price squirming in 4K because he can't provide the evidence. TJ?
This is such a joke, JB. Like they're like, and YouTube is stopping footage streaming coming out of the Ukraine, and certain people, they know that the jig is up. People are finding out that this is just BS, that they're trying to whip up this thing. Like Germany's not sending weapons, JB. Germany is one of our closest allies in NATO, is saying, no, we're not sending no lethal weapons. They're just sending helmets. Like NATO's not on board with this. You don't have the evidence. Like Russia's at their own border. You know how long these troops been at the border? For like 7 years. 7 years, JB. They've already been there at their own border, just like we have troops at our border. Like, it's so ridiculous, JB, and that's why this person is squirming. If you have the truth on your side, you wouldn't be squirming like this.
Ashura. Ashura. We heard it.
Yes.
He was like, you hear that frustration, CJ?
Yes.
Why did you have to ask these questions, bro? Just take what I say at face value, bro. The Russians, they're evil. Oh my gosh, they're coming to defend their border. Can you guys just believe me? Why are you guys making this so hard for me? And look, this dude is, I hate to compare it like this, but this dude is like Gayle King, and he's sitting there like R. Kelly.
That's a good.
Why?
From Yale to CIA. Oh man. And this, what is his position again? He's a CIA spokesperson or something like that.
He's a spokesperson for the State Department.
Oh my lord.
Same State Department that homeboy wait Sam Cedar was like, oh yeah, I'm okay with giving 12% increase in the budget to them. Like, dude, these are your people? These are your people. Is this your man?
Come get your bro. Come get him, bro. Come get your man.
Bro. Let me tell you, this dude literally doesn't even know what the hell is going on. Ned Price doesn't even know what the hell is going on. In the words of Latrice Royale, good guy, get a grip, girl. Like, come on. Like, are you?
Man, and you're telling me it's longer than this? Like, this is just the short. This is just the short version. This is just the short version.
Wait, CJ, you got some time? Go grab some popcorn real quick. We're gonna laugh a little bit more at Ned Price's expense.
What?
Yes. Hold on. I didn't expect this to be funny, but it is. Let's go.
I remember a lot of things. So where is the declassified information other than you coming out here and saying?
Matt, I'm sorry you don't like the format, but we have
it's not the format, it's the content.
I'm sorry you don't like the content. I'm sorry you are doubting the information that is in the possession of the U.S. government. No, what I'm telling you is that this is information that's available to us. We are making it available to you in order for a couple reasons. One is to attempt to deter the Russians from going ahead with this activity. Two, in the event we're not able to do that, in the event the Russians do go ahead with this, to make it clear as day, to lay bare the fact that this has always been an attempt on the part of the Russian Federation to fabricate a pretext.
Yeah.
Wait, he wants to talk about fabricated pretext.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said that.
You caught that, CJ? Fabricated pretext? They want to talk about
Pick us up.
Man, he ain't fabricating shit. He's the one fabricating.
But you don't have any evidence to back it up other than what you're saying. It's like you're saying, we think we have information the Russians may do this, but you won't tell us what the information is. And then when you're asked,
that is the idea behind deterrence, Matt. That is the idea behind deterrence.
And when
it is our hope that the Russians don't go forward with this.
You say, I just gave it to you. But that's not what
you seem not to understand. You seem not to understand the idea of deterrence. We are trying to deter the Russians from moving forward with this type of activity. That is why we're making it public today. If the Russians don't go forward with this, that is not ipso facto an indication that they never had plans to do so.
But then it's unprovable. My God, what is the evidence that you have that suggests that the Russians are even planning this?
Matt,
I'm not saying that they're not. But you just come out and say this and expect us just to believe it without you showing a shred of evidence that it's actually true. Other than when I ask, or when anyone else asks, what's the information? You said, well, I just gave it to you, which was just you making a statement.
Matt, you said yourself, you've been in this business for quite a long time. You know that when we make information, intelligence information.
Okay, there's no more to go over.
Yeah.
There's no more to go over.
Terrible.
Because they're just being fools right now, right? I mean, ultimately, you and I both know what this is all about.
That's been retweeted on Twitter. Is that where you got that clip from?
Oh yes.
I gotta find that clip.
oh yes. Hang on. In fact, I'll retweet it myself so you can retweet it.
Okay, yeah, and then
this
I'll
is
go
from
to
the Hill. This is from the Hill, by the way. So
I just want to see people's comments on what he's doing. That's funny.
Okay. Layla says a reporter doing a piece of journalism is shown condescension and scorn, and then finally labeled a useful idiot for Russia. Please keep holding these powerful ghouls into. Oh, I need to share my screen. I'm sorry. You said you want to see it. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you can put it on the screen if you want. I was just gonna just read it, but yeah, go ahead.
He said, Endgame says, rare things to see in mainstream publication like The Hill show everyone challenge power. The media should always question the government narrative and demand evidence like this. We might have avoided the Gulf War if they had done their job.
Yep.
Stuff
instead of cheerleading, they literally cheerlead. I almost lost my job during that time because I was against the war, but that was a time when you couldn't even say nothing against George Bush at all.
What? You almost lost your job because of that?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not doing that. No, this is some BS and all this. And my manager was a staunch, like, no, this is you're against freedom, huh? You're against America, like that. Yeah. AT&T, I never forget. I worked at AT&T in Torrance, and they were telling me that.
Oh wow,
just ridiculous, man.
Yeah. They're I mean, look, I'm gonna share this tweet. But yeah, it's just crazy because he obviously wasn't expecting a journalist to actually do their job that day.
Yeah. Because so many people, so many of them, JB, because they're owned by corporations, don't give any pushback. They just go, oh, you said the sky is red. Okay, the sky is red. And that's it. You get what I'm saying? So that's what the normal occurrence. And this time, it was a different day this time.
Yeah. And, it's the same thing with, it's just like with the police. They'll give police like complete and total credence and say, well, police say, and then blah, 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 blah. And it's like, wait, but what about the neighborhood? And what did and what about the people who they arrested? Like, what is their, what do they think about what happened? And so it's crazy.
I found that guy's Twitter page, Matt Lee. Yeah, just like an older white guy. Yeah, funny. But anyway, thanks for sharing that because I'm gonna reshare that over and over and over again. Actually, already been shared for like 6.5 million views.
Oh yeah.
Let me.
I put it in the private chat too for you, just in case, so you won't have to go look for it. But
thank you, sir.
But this goes to show that the United States can't even formulate a decent argument to go against Russia. And the thing is that Russia has been saying time and time again, we don't want war.
Right.
We don't. And it's like,
I read somewhere the Ukraine president said, he was infuriated that the United States was overblowing this. You already know what Germany thinks. Mm-hmm. Like this is all made up to save a presidency. Because JB, if you think back, when all of this stuff started going off, what had happened literally days before, all the new polls came out. Joe Biden was underwater in every single category, from defense to the military to the economy to the pandemic to racial justice to wrong track. And then all of a sudden, literally, presidents do conflicts literally to boost their or talk about conflict and going to war in order to boost their rating. And I mean, he got down to 33%, Quinnipiac poll. And that's when all this stuff started coming out. And it's a shame, JB, because it shows that they don't care anything about our lives. That they can just say, oh, let me send 3,000 troops because my, approval rating is terrible, even though they could lose their lives if we go in combat. But my approval rating went up 2 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so ridiculous.
How many people's lives are worth your approval rating? That's the good question. CJ, I actually have an idea of how a president can drastically raise their approval ratings. You want to know how it can be done?
We need to listen closely. This is a secret, right? We gotta listen closely.
All right. Come on. Move in closer. All right. So here's what it is, right? I gotta make sure that the microphone is right up to my lips so y'all can hear me. This is ASMR. Okay. So if you bring all the troops home, take the rifles out of their hands and hand them shovels and start having them build a green infrastructure and do a federal jobs guarantee, your numbers could go up.
Yes.
Oh, wait. What if everybody started suddenly having health care? And then you did a mass transit, high-speed transit all over the nation that also produced a huge amount of jobs.
JB. What else are you going to offer there? What else can they do to bring their numbers?
What if we took some of the money that went towards police budgets and put them into poor and disenfranchised neighborhoods? Well, gee golly whiz! That would actually make the country better. Oh my goodness! What a concept! What a concept! Listen, this is the thing that it pisses me off. The fact that, and you know, I just did a Jekyll and Hyde right there, but it's whatever. It's crazy because it's like, wait a minute, you could do so much good, and this could make you more popular than fucking FDR. And by the way, FDR also did his shit too. FDR really, it wasn't that good. But just think about it. Instead of the next election having only one, state red and the rest of the country blue, imagine it being all blue because you did so much good shit for the country. But I digress. But it's crazy because you can do all this great shit, and then next thing you know, you're sitting like a king. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And next election, it's like, I ain't got to go out the campaign because look what I did.
They've seen this work before, JB, and this is the reason why they had to come up with presidential term limits, because the guy who was forced by other parties, he gets all the credit. The white guy gets all the credit, but the Communist Party, all these other parties pressured him during this time to do all these things. It made him so likable. He kept getting elected, like literally kept getting elected by landslides because he was doing things for the people. So they know we have a template for the reaction that a politician would get if they did things for the people. And they had to bring in term limits. Just think about that, JB. This person is getting elected so many times that the oligarch and the ruling class say, hey, we need to put a hold to this. The people didn't say term limits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were saying we got to put a hold to this. This guy's doing too much good stuff and everybody loves him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is that when everybody else loves you and you don't have to depend on the corporations, then who loses power? Because now everybody else loves you, so they're going to keep you in until you mess up. But guess what? If you don't need the corporations, then you're not going to listen to them. That's the whole point. Not that I'm still for term limits, of course, but the premise is that if you do good by the people, they'll keep you where you need to be as far as the term limits go. They'll keep you in because you're doing a good job.
We JB, you know how much even the duopoly would be a lot better if everybody had term limits like 4 years, because they wouldn't have enough time to entrench themselves, like Nancy Pelosi, for example, with Wall Street. Mm-hmm. Like if they were only able to, and I think it should be term limits like nationwide, like you have a 10-year cap on any office, like combined. Oh, I was a mayor, I was a senator, I was this, combined 10 years, you can't keep, because it's clearly, put it this way, if you're using to be a politician to be a career and your career is not producing anything, meaning it's not producing the results, why do we have that as a career? That shouldn't be a career. Go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be career. I mean, it's called public servant for a reason.
Right.
So, I mean, if people, want to serve the public, it should be considered a lower position. You're lowering yourself. Now, you and I both grew up religious, so you know where I'm going with this. Y'all, I mean, y'all ruling like y'all are the lords and kings when y'all should be, washing some feet. But y'all like, oh, I don't want to get my hands dirty. Then don't do it. Who am I? Lord and Lord. Okay, so I think we're done laughing at Ned Price's expense.
Yeah, that was a good story. Funny
But that was
story.
fun though, right? That was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good story.
But the thing is that ultimately, the more serious portion of that story is yes, the United States is actually arming neo Nazis in Ukraine. And for anybody who thinks that the United States is a good guy, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because guess what? They're arming neo Nazis in Ukraine, and guess what? It is actually documented that this is actually happening. So guess what? If you sit there and think that we should be policing the world, wrong. No, it should not happen because guess what? They're trying to police the way the police in this country police us. Guess what? It's never good because as you can see, as the first story goes, guess what? Then people just end up dead. And a lot of times it's innocent people that end up dead. So guess what? The United States should retire from its policing job and start doing some landscaping.
I don't understand why. Like, do you go into the police department because you're racist and you say I want to inflict pain on people of color, or do you get into the department and then they make you racist, or is it a combination of both? But I do want to say this because since I'm talking about this topic, when people say, "Oh no, I'm a good person," I'm not this and I'm that. We have to stop thinking that an individual person, this goes for politicians, an individual person being good does not do anything for the institution. So you can have, for example, like you can have, oh, I'm an abolitionist, but if you go work on a plantation, what does that do? Like your abolitionist, hat is not on when you're working on a plantation. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not on. So like if you, oh, I don't take corporate money, okay, that's great. But the person who's giving you orders takes corporate money. Like, so you get what I'm saying? So it's not individually. You got to think of the team or the group.
I can understand if somebody was like that went in and was like, I'm not taking corporate money, and they didn't obey the person that was giving orders. I can understand that, but that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. Right.
They don't say, you know what? Screw you, Nancy Pelosi. I'm doing my own thing.
Right.
Because if they actually did, oh boy. Oh, it would be, they would be kicked out of Congress. That's just how it is.
You ever wonder when AOC talks about how she was tortured during that first year? You ever wonder what she meant by that? And do you think that's the reason why the transition? Because ever since she sat outside of Nancy Pelosi's office, it's been a downward spiral to neoliberalism. Like, so I'm wondering, do you think there's like what type of pressures, what type of torture can they inflict on these people if they don't fall in line? Do you have you ever thought of that, or have you ever heard of
yeah.
Okay.
I thought about it. Okay, I'm gonna say this as carefully as I possibly can. She probably experienced an immense amount of pressure that said, if you don't do things the way we want to, then we're going to make your life a living hell. But if you do what we want, then we'll throw you a few bones. And some people, under those threats and circumstances that they're presented, don't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up and say, I don't care, go ahead and try. I'm still going to do the right thing. And so it's basically either paradise or torture. There's no in between.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it sometimes feels like. And some people in the chat even maybe saying, JB, you're being a little too kind. And they say that.
I saw a couple of them.
And that's okay. I didn't even see it. And that's okay if you think I'm being a little too kind. I'm just presenting a possibility that it may be that it's like taken into a back room, got a couple of, people there that are kind of threatening and being like, hey, these are your options. Because it wouldn't be so far, that the United States government acts like a mafia. It's not that far, because, look what they do around the world. So, that could be the case. Or it could just be she's just drifting like any old other politician, and just the money's just too good. I could be wrong, and I'm willing to concede to that, if somebody presents a good enough case. But
JB, it's like this: you become who you hang around, almost.
And that's true too.
You know what I mean? Like you're in Washington in a bubble with despicable, filthy corporate people who are talking like their corruption is normal and not terrible. So that's you become socialized to, well, I met, Nancy Pelosi's daughter. They're fine. Their kids, they're good people. So yeah, she's not that bad. I want to attack her. It becomes like this. You get what I'm saying? It's the Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden is my friend. But that's the reason actually why I believe he lost. Because if he actually did the final, jab to Joe Biden and knocked him out, he could have. But Breonna Joy Gray actually talks about them kind of pulling up on the Social Security critique of Joe Biden. When they saw the numbers dip, they pulled back on doing that, and that was a disagreement in the campaign. Bernie Sanders was like, no more. Nina Turner and Breonna Joy Gray was like, no, we need to keep the foot on the, and he was like, no. And that's, he could have opened up the lead a lot more to where he went to South Carolina. It wouldn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? But because he wanted to play the nice thing, and I'm just saying this to say that this, JB, is it possible for any good person to go in a sea of like hundreds, like literally 400 or 500 terrible people, corrupt, and not slowly? You get what I'm saying? Look who you're around. So to you, you're still the furthest left person here, but you're still sliding. You get what I'm saying? You're still,
Well, there's a phrase for it. It's called association brings on assimilation. And so
never heard of that.
Yeah. So basically what it means is you rub shoulders with people and some of that rubs off on you. So that's another possibility that I'm also willing to concede to. Not even concede to. I also actually believe that too. I think it's a combination of things, but I think that's one of them. I think you're hitting the nail on. And so what happens is you get so friendly with certain people to the point where you start to adapt what their mindset is to your own. And you still think you're different, and you may be slightly, but you're not where you were a couple years back.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And so I think for people like her, like for instance, what about Ilhan Omar? She was talking about, the Israeli government. She said all about the Benjamins. And next thing you know, everybody was up in arms, calling her anti-Semitic. And then next thing you know, she was voting for the Iron Dome. Like, what? Like, who are you? How did you get here? And it's that association brings on assimilation. Because you were all about helping out the Palestinians, and next thing you know, you went this direction. And so part of me thinks that that's what happened. Is that, and people like Bernie, he tried to resist as long as he could. But the thing is that rubbing shoulders, that rubbing shoulders, next thing you know, oh, Joe Biden's my good friend. And Joe Biden says, I beat the socialists, but then he looks at Mitch McConnell, my friend. See?
Yeah.
And it's like, hold up. So you hit the I'm saying all that just to say you hit the nail on the head. You know, so I agree with that point too. And you know, people in the chat, please don't come after me.
I do think that Bernie Sanders internalized the Donald Trump presidency to the point to where how he ran his campaign in 2020, because if you look at the 2016 and 2020 Bernie, they're completely different.
Yeah.
And it's because I think he internalized, you know, they blamed him. Whether wrong or not, they blamed, you know, Democrats, everybody blamed Bernie Sanders for Donald Trump, right? They blamed Bernie Sanders for Donald Trump. And 4 years of Donald Trump and the awful presidency that he had, Bernie Sanders is like, I can't, you know, have my long-lasting legacy be tied to this. So, you know, I'll keep saying Bernie, you know, Joe Biden is my friend, and it was just, I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I think you're right. The problem was that Bernie listened to them. Yes. I think that was the problem. And Bernie started internalizing it, thinking that was his fault, so he needed to kind of pull his punches a little bit. Yes. He should have intensified. And the thing is that Bernie should have realized it wasn't his fault that Donald Trump won. It was Hillary Clinton's fault that Donald Trump won. Because remember, the Pied Piper strategy is Hillary Clinton's fault that we actually had Donald Trump.
Yep.
It was her fault. And the thing is that if Bernie would have realized that before he started his 2020 run, and if somebody would have been like, no, you need to punch harder, if there weren't those Jeff Weavers in the campaign that were telling him to pull back and all that bullshit, and it would have told him punch harder, and guess what? Bernie probably would have knocked his ass out, and Bernie would have been in the White House. But
I believe that too.
But the problem is that Bernie got propagandized.
Mm-hmm. He believed it himself. He's internalizing it, and he had to make sure it wasn't going to be on him. Yeah. But if he didn't have the pandemic, because you were listening to some things, if there was no pandemic, it would be a Bernie Sanders presidency or a Donald Trump presidency. There would absolutely not be a Joe Biden presidency if it wasn't a pandemic. Because Joe Biden squeaked by.
Oh, he squeaked by.
Even how terrible Donald Trump is and how bad the pandemic was, he barely squeaked by. So absent the pandemic, he would have lost. And absent pandemic, think about the campaign, the primary. 2, Bernie Sanders had to stop doing those large events. That's what was catapulting him, because it was these large. Imagine if he kept able to do these large venues, 17,000 people selling out, right? There wouldn't have been no stopping him, even in South Carolina. But all of these things, then of course Obama, all of these things, and then him saying, Joe Biden is my friend all the time, became a problem. It just became a problem.
But you're never going to see somebody like Bernie Sanders in the Democratic Party ever again. No. Because the Democratic Party actually looked and learned about what Bernie Sanders did as far as policy-wise. Because nobody cared anything else about Bernie Sanders besides policies. That was it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it was basically, okay, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, legalize marijuana. Like, you can ask anybody who supported Bernie, why did you like Bernie Sanders? The first thing that they will go to, and pretty much the only thing they'll go after, is policy.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give a shit about anything else. If you go towards people like Hillary Clinton, first thing they'll start going towards is social issues and identity. While identity is important, You need the social issues to back. I mean, you need the economic issues to back it up. And that's
like the social issue. They're important, but not in the way that they're saying it's important. Yeah, is how I say it. Like they're saying it's important because just to have a face on there. Mm-hmm. We're saying it's important because we actually need different ideas, not just faces. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, that's like having a female CEO, but all the women in the company is still receiving 70 cents on the dollar.
Exactly.
Like, what good is having a female CEO if the women are still receiving 70 cents on the dollar? Like, no, give women equal pay and also make a woman a CEO. That's cool.
Right.
It's like that. It's like give them equal treatment throughout. And also, and then also give that representation. But the thing is that they weren't doing that. And it's the same thing. Like, for instance, people were looking at me like, oh, well, you're not for Pete Buttigieg? Hell no, I'm not for Pete Buttigieg. What? Do I look crazy to you? Like, look at what he did in South Bend. Mm-hmm. And so people look at me, but you're gay. I don't care. Look, I want my health care. I want my healthcare, motherfucker. Yeah. I don't want somebody just to say Happy Pride every June. I don't care about that.
Right.
Barack Obama was a straight dude, and he lit the White House, in rainbow colors. So what? Big whoop. What are you doing for people like me or for my queer brothers and sisters that have HIV and AIDS, and then they actually have to put up GoFundMes and shit just for their medications? Like, what are you doing for them? What are you doing for my trans brothers and sisters that actually have to put up GoFundMes just so they can have gender reassignment surgery? Like, what are you doing for them? Like, get the fuck out of here with that, with just Pete Buttigieg just being gay. I don't give a shit if Pete Buttigieg is just gay. Like, what the hell is up with that? Like,
do you get that a lot? Do you get that a lot where people say, why aren't you, or you just a couple of times you've gotten, why aren't you supporting?
I've gotten a couple of times, and I've had like a bunch of people who I was friends with that are gay, and that we're talking about, oh, that's representation. I'm like, okay, that's not, it's like that. Okay,
it's not the type of representation that we're talking about. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: would you rather have somebody that's polite or kind?
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
Polite?
No.
One speaks to you kind, one probably kind. Probably would be. Yeah.
Because kindness and politeness are two different things. Okay.
Polite is more forced, and kind is more from you, your genuine you.
You can be an asshole and still be kind.
Right.
You can be polite and still be a horrible human being. I can say things in a very polite way. And I can say, you know what? I'm going to fuck you up. And I said it in a very polite way. But I can also say, yo, man, you got booger in your nose, and I don't want you to be embarrassed. I didn't say it in a very polite way, but my kindness was there because I didn't want you to be embarrassed. So kindness is from deep within, wanting to treat somebody better. Politeness is just a surface thing, right? And so it's the same thing. The representation is more of a surface thing. It's nice to see, yes, but what's underneath? You can have a polite racist. They exist. But I'd rather you be an ally and still be an asshole. Give me an ally that's an asshole over a polite racist any day. Right? Because at least, yeah, they're like, man, they're rude, but they back, they don't tolerate no shit, saying about, those black people though. Okay.
I look at the Black Panthers as kind, because they come in and say blah blah blah. They may be yelling in this, but they're feeding you, which is kind. They're teaching you, which is kind. So yeah,
you got it. See, that's the point that I'm making. And for instance, Joe Biden's polite,
right?
Barack Obama was polite. but they weren't kind. They never were. And that's the thing. And politeness is sometimes misconstrued with kindness. And what they do is that they use that politeness to fool you into thinking that person's kind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they get you, because they want you to think that that person's kind. And then when the chips are down, then you realize how shitty of a human being they are. And so that's why we need more kindness. Like, politeness is nice. It's nice. But it doesn't really change much. You know? Like if I had $100,000, and if I saw somebody and they were short on their rent by like $500, politeness in me would be like, oh man, I hope it works out for you. The kindness in me would just slip them that $500, or maybe even $700, and it's just an extra $200 for anything else you need, without even saying the damn thing. So that's the thing, and this is one of the reasons why I talk about being around people who are kind, being around people who display that type of quality. The thing is that we want that not just within the people who surround us societally, but also the people who we elect to represent us. But the problem is they've been fooling us and bullshitting us for a long time. And I didn't even get to my last story yet. Can we get to the last story real quick?
Sure,
I'm gonna make it real quick because we got like 10 minutes left. So I'm going to get to that really quick, so that y'all can go about y'all merry little day. You guys gotta, I know today's Sunday and you guys are spending it with us, so I deeply appreciate it. So, I want to give a shout out to Natalie Spencer on Twitter for sharing this article, and I'll show her Twitter handle just so you guys can see. But and by the way, on Rockfin, I also wanted to thank Crone of Anarchy for the tip. Crone of Anarchy said that there are black rifle militias. There's an episode on Vice about them. YouTube has videos about black people arming up. So thank you so much for that, Crone of Anarchy. But back to the story. The title of this article is Private Equity Firms Now Control Many Hospitals, ERs, and Nursing Homes. And they're asking, is it good for healthcare? Fuck no, it's not good for healthcare. But we'll get to the why in a second. But see how NBC News, they act, is it good? No, y'all know it ain't good, but y'all just, anyway.
Yeah, it should be a statement, not a, it should be, this is bad for healthcare. It should, how it should read.
Yeah. And by the way, this article's almost 2 years old. Scary, right? So hold on, let me get to this part. Oh, I'm going out to where's where I want it to go down to. There's a specific part. Okay. Over the past decade, private equity firms like Blackstone, Apollo Global Management, and the Carlyle Group, KKR and Company, and Warburg Pincus have deployed more than $340 billion to buy healthcare-related operations around the world. In 2019, private equity health care acquisitions reached $79 billion, a record according to Bain and Company, a consulting firm. Blackstone is buying up hospitals, baby. Blackstone. The same one that was buying up property and housing across the United States, they're also buying up hospitals. That was a specific
stories like this, JB, foreshadow stuff that they already know what's coming in a couple of years. they know about a legislation they're working on, or they know about, something that's coming up, or they have a lobbyist that's writing a bill. Like, all of these things are involved, when you see stories, like this. So Blackstone quite possibly knows that, hey, in so and so year, we're going to be presenting this bill on the floor. So let's get ahead of the story and buy up all the hospitals, because we know this bill is coming. We're going to introduce in a couple of years. I think the same thing happened with the housing market. Like, they did stories that they were buying up housing a couple of years ago, and now we fast forward till today, they're buying up tons of homes because they're trying to turn everybody into renters.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, JB. It's crazy.
Yeah. This paragraph says this has been a seismic shift during the 1900s. Most hospitals were owned either by nonprofit entities with religious affiliations or by states and cities, so they were publicly owned, with ties to medical schools. For-profit hospitals existed, but it wasn't until recently that they become nearly ubiquitous. It continues, for the past 20 years, private equity has been a resource of immense wealth for the executives overseeing the entities. Most of those who have had major private equity firms are reported to be billionaires, like the two men atop Blackstone, Steven Schwarzman, a close advisor to President Donald Trump, and Hamilton Tony Jones, a major donor to Democrats.
Yep. And I can't forget which one. One of them has a sister who's also in Washington.
So,
like, she's a congressperson or a rep. I can't remember which one. Maybe somebody in the comments will say. Can't remember, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So these people who are buying up our hospitals and keeping prices high, which basically prices you out of healthcare. That's really the goal. They want to price you out of healthcare, are owning these just so that they can make billions more. And as somebody that is very well versed in the healthcare system, especially from a patient perspective, this is gross. And so this happened. A lot of this started going, especially during the pandemic. And if I can remind you all, we actually decreased the hospital beds in the nation over the years, even though our population has increased.
It's so ridiculous, JB.
Make that make sense. Our hospital beds went down, but our population went up. A third time, never repeat myself. Our hospital beds went down and our population rose. What's wrong with that picture? Money, 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 money. That's what it's about. And people need to realize, why is this happening? Yep. It's a little word that people need to understand. It's called profit. Profit. And when the profit motive is stuck or attached to things that humans need to survive, to live, people die. Because there's going to be somebody that doesn't have the money to be able to take care of themselves. People wonder why I'm a socialist. This is why. Let me get to the super chat. Because it's stories like these that fire me up, because I'm just like, wait, you mean to tell me that, these hospitals, this is part of the reason why they're raising their prices.
Yep.
Spec in Chicago says, I evolve listening to the show and all the correspondence. I am always learning from this show about so much more internal indoctrination that my arrogance thought is already new. Thank you. Thank you so much, Spec in Chicago. Really appreciate that. And just to your point, Spec in Chicago, we all have to humble ourselves when it comes to learning new information and adjusting to it. I have to do that myself, and I'm continuously doing that as well. So I just want to appreciate that you're also not alone in this. I'm doing it too, and I'm trying to do it to my best, to best of my ability. So thank you for that. That means a lot. So you're really, you're fairly healthy, CJ.
Yes.
Enough for me to be a little jealous of you. But so, but this is a good warning for people that are able-bodied and healthy, like CJ. Like, even though you're not in the situation that you need it right now, when you will, it's going to screw you all over. It's screwing me over now, but it's going to screw y'all over later. It's just like with Social Security. People always talk about, oh, well, you guys get money from the government. And I'm like, it ain't enough. And people want to act like those of us who are on Social Security disability are living life off the hog. Oh, no, we're not. Y'all want to see my rent compared to how much I get in Social Security? Oh, y'all be crying tears by the time y'all see that shit. Let's be real. And people don't pay attention enough to Social Security, disability, and retirement. Y'all need to start paying attention now, because if you don't have it now, you're going to need it later, because you either one of two things are going to happen. You're going to become disabled, or you're going to become old. So y'all better start paying attention to that shit now, because guess what? Those of us who are on disability or Social Security exclusively, we're suffering out here. Same thing I'm talking about the hospitals. You may be very healthy right now. It may not matter to you, but guess what? It will. And the day that it comes, I hope that you don't have to deal with the same shit that we deal with.
Absolutely. Let me make a point for just to piggyback off your point about hospital beds and why we have it. Just 45 seconds. Let me read this little snippet from this article that tells you why a lot of people don't know. The most acute of those problems, America simply doesn't have enough hospital beds to handle the expected influx of patients suffering from COVID-19. In many places, that shortage of bed, here it goes right here. That shortage of beds is a result of state-level regulations known as Certificate of Need laws, or CON laws, that artificially limit the supply of medical equipment. Those laws, those laws help politically powerful hospital chains limit regional competition, nothing about people's lives, competition, and inflate healthcare costs. But they also create shortages of medical equipment that can prove disastrous during but yeah, this is something you should read. Just look up the CON, not this specific article, because it tells you all why we don't have enough hospital beds. It's basically to save money. It's to save money, and it's so ridiculous, JB. And it's we don't have enough hospital beds. 330 plus million people and 150 hospital beds. Like, come on, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yo, CJ. You know how capitalists always talk about that competition is good and innovative and all that shit? Well, guess what? The people who are capitalists, who actually had the power to help create competition, they took it away because they wanted to make it more monopolize it. They literally want to monopolize health. So guess what? Now they're basically limiting our means to be able to get medical attention just so that they can make a few extra bucks.
For dollars. Shameful. Just shameful.
And that limit of medical devices includes things like ventilators.
Yep.
And dialysis machines. So Does this capitalistic system really breed competition so that we can actually improve? Y'all need to stop falling for the bullshit. I'm telling you, because that's exactly what's going on. So that was,
Yeah, it's
that was
terrible,
that.
Jibby.
Yeah. So I just, I thought that was, that was a story that also needed to be talked about. In Rockfin, Haba says, the coming legislation, your medical bills will soon be on your credit report. What makes you think they're not on our credit report already?
I know medical debt is. I have some on my credit report. I know debt,
Yeah.
but I don't know about bills. Like, does he mean like bills that are
Yeah,
not even?
I'm sorry, I read it wrong. He says your medical debts will soon be on your credit report. That's been the case for years.
Maybe he's talking about something else, because like an ER bill, because the ER place can send you, but maybe he's meaning like the total, like you owe across all your medical bills, you owe 50,000. That'll be on there or something like that. Maybe that's what this person is meaning.
Shit,
It's already there. It's already there.
I wish mine was 50,000. Shit, that's how bad it is. Let me not get into it, because I'll go off on a whole another 45-minute rant. Because being chronically ill, it is super expensive. God, people just don't know. I'm telling you.
Have you ever went somewhere and you didn't have enough of what you needed? Whatever, device, or, in the case of this, like, was there ever, well, this is medical beds. You weren't admitted to the hospital, so I guess that wouldn't be a question that applies. So to your condition, unless you've been admitted. I was trying to get to the question of, have you experienced a shortage of anything while in the medical industry?
Oh, I've had somebody ask me for my credit card while I was in the hospital bed. Yeah. Because I was experiencing, what happened? So I was in the hospital and I had an infection, and I needed this particular antibiotic, and the antibiotic allegedly could only be given through IV. And so they were going to send me home, and they wanted a nurse to come to my house to administer the IV. 10 sessions. I'm sorry, 4 sessions. Or no, it was 10. Was it 10 sessions or 4? Whatever. That's not important. But they said that just the IV alone was $400. And the lady was like, and you can see it on her face. She's like, do you have a credit card? And I can tell that she didn't want to ask me that question.
She felt uneasy. You could tell.
She was uneasy. She didn't want to ask me that question, but she had to. And I was like, you know what? I don't. And that's when I made that video and I uploaded it to Twitter saying that they asked me for a credit card. And I started talking about how much we need Medicare for all. And
that is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Come to find out, because I was stressing out like crazy about not having it, they said after a while, they were like, oh, well, okay, well, I guess we can give you the pill form. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys could have told me that I could have gotten the pill form of this antibiotic and my Medicare Part D was going to pay for it all, but you guys put me through that bullshit of having to be asked if I have a credit card just so that you guys can have a nurse come out and give it to me through IV? Y'all could have gave me the pill form after all this time, and I wouldn't have to pay a dime? Like, yo, they were literally trying to scam out $400 from me.
Upselling you. Upselling in healthcare. There's upselling in healthcare.
And it was stressing me out. I'm in there with an infection, and that could have put me back into the ICU. And yet, y'all could have just made it a whole lot easier and said, "Oh, we'll just give you the pill form, and you guys just take it. You just take it for a week." I was just like, "Yo, we." And pardon me for saying this, but fuck Medicare for all. I want a national health system. No, we're not even. We're going further than that. We're going beyond Medicare for all. We're going national health system. No, it's going to be owned by the community. I'm done with this. I'm done, because people should not be. People are being scammed while being sick, and that is crazy. I remember when I went to Philly to visit my mom years ago. And then next thing you know, they took my Medicare away because I couldn't pay it, because I failed to pay the premiums for Medicare. Next thing you know, I got an $8,000 bill for 2 days of dialysis from DaVita. $8,000 for in DaVita. And by the way, companies like DaVita and Fresenius Dialysis Care, they are for-profit dialysis companies.
What happened about a few years ago? Because where I'm at, DaVita's location started popping up everywhere. Did some sort of profit something happen maybe 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago? I just started. Now there's probably... Maybe it happened in California, so you wouldn't know what happened. Maybe because it could be a California thing, but I just started seeing a bunch of them, and I didn't know that it was for profit at first. That because people, Americans just don't assume that that America can be this terrible. You get what I'm saying? It's like you wouldn't even think. Why would America charge somebody with dialysis $8,000 for 2? You get what I'm saying? For 2 sessions. So Americans can't even fathom that even existing because it's so terrible. But it exists.
It exists. And I can grab the letter from CMS right now and show you how much these treatments cost for dialysis. And you'd be like, dude, like, I couldn't imagine not having insurance to pay that off. Thank God I have Medicare and Medicaid now. Thank goodness I do. But even still, I still have to pay copays for things. Like, I still have an outstanding bill with the pharmacy because it doesn't cover 100%, but I need that medication because either one, my access is going to clot up, or my body's going to end up calcifying, and then I'm going to turn to stone. Like, shit like that. Like, I need these type of medications and stuff. So, and as far as your question goes, dialysis is big business. It's huge business. Like, I read the statistic years ago. It said 90,000 people, I think it was 90,000 people in the United States are waiting for transplants in the United States. 70,000 of them are waiting for kidneys. So I'm pretty sure it's different. But yeah. You can't you actually have to raise money just to get on the transplant list too.
It's so weird because it's not like this. So I've never lived under, for a lifetime under, nationalized healthcare or, healthcare for all. But, I was in Germany for a while, and the friend I had in Germany just get up. Oh, I feel sick. Go to the doctor. Don't pay, ever reach in their wallet. Oh, I'm gonna go get the medicine, walk downstairs, get the medicine, don't pay nothing, and walk out.
Yeah.
No money ever reached in their pocket. It's not even, it's such a thing that's not even a concept that you're making money from people's lives. That is the one issue. I mean, it's a more blah, but making money off of healthcare is, that's not part of, that shouldn't be part of civilization. It's so barbaric. That's the right word. That's what I'm looking for. It's so barbaric.
It is.
Yes.
It is. It is.
You got Nick's grandma having to choose, so she don't want to put her family in debt. She has to choose to die because she doesn't want to put anybody into debt. That is what we can't have exist. Is that? And then there was a big, I'm just going off and on because when you talk about the medical, C-sections started to go up because they wanted to make more money because they wasn't making enough money off of regular vaginal births. So they started coming up. Oh, you need a C-section. There's a danger. Everything became a danger. It's like, this is the same. How did literally just skyrocketed because they wanted to make more money off of people having kids. So they would find a little, it's risk. You need a C-section. To find all kind of just low-level risks. Oh, you need a C-section. It's so that's the case of money determining medical outcomes. Because if the C-section didn't cost more or more profitable, and you got to think these hospitals are like businesses where they know we have to start making money. We have to make decisions based on the fact that we have a bottom line and we need to bring in a certain amount of money like we're a corporation. So guess what you start doing? Oh, that patient, he doesn't need those extra 2 days in a bed. Get him out of here. Oh, that patient, you start cutting corners. You get what I'm saying? And that's the state we live in. I'm sorry, JB, for going so far.
No.
I know we hit the 2 hour mark.
I know.
It's hard to stay in the 2 hours.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. Sometimes I actually think that the hospitals, because now that I have Medicare, I think the hospitals want to keep me as long as they possibly can because they know I have Medicare.
Yes. You're that situation. Your situation is the opposite, where they know this is a moneymaker right here, people. Put them in there, like, go ahead, like, come on. So you felt that way with any sort of doctor's appointments or treatments where you felt like maybe they're giving you extra or more because they're trying to run up the tab? This is why I hate
going to the hospital, because I'll be fine. And then next thing you know, they'll be like, oh, we got to run this test. And it's like, okay. And then 2 hours go by, 4 hours go by, 8 hours go by, a whole day goes by. Did you guys get the test back yet? Oh, we're still waiting on them. They're in a backlog. Why are they in a backlog? And then next thing you know, oh, you're fine. And the test came back, you're good. Okay, it's like 4 o'clock in the evening. Can I go home? Well, we have to wait for the doctor to sign off on you going home. Okay, where's the doctor? Oh, the doctor left for the day. So you're going to have to wait for tomorrow for the doctor to come back just so you can leave. So the hospital is racking up all that time for me being there. And you don't get rest. Look, anybody that's healthy, you don't get rest in the hospital. You do not get rest. Because guess what? Here's what they do. If you're sick in the hospital, then they'll come in at like 8 o'clock and they'll take your blood. And if you're a hard stick, it's going to be taking even longer. Then 12 o'clock comes around. You're just falling asleep. We need blood. Come into your room to get blood. 4 a.m. rolls around. Lights on. We need more blood. You don't get one bit of rest. And every 2-3 hours, they're coming in. We got to take vitals. We got to make sure you're still alive. We got to get your blood pressure. We got to get your temperature. So if you think you're going to get rest in the hospital, bullshit. You don't get rest in the hospital. So just let y'all know, Plus, the food ain't that good either. Unless you go to the women's hospital here in Orlando, Winnie Palmer. From what I heard, they get some bomb ass food. That's the one thing that
who's your rep? Are they responsible for getting that stuff? Let's look at your face. Look at your face. I guess they're not. But who's your rep though? Is it Demi? Who's your rep in Orlando?
Demings, former police officer. Former police officer.
Police chief.
She
had a scandal too.
Look, I'm gonna let you know. Bro, did you know that she left her firearm in her police squad car and somebody stole it out of her car? And she was like, I misplaced my gun. Like, that happened. By the way, she is husband of Jerry Demings, who is the mayor of Orange County in Orlando, Florida. So she's the rep. And by the way, years ago, when she was the police chief of the Orlando Police Department, he was the sheriff of the Orange County Sheriff's Office at the same time. They got elected the same year. They were running law enforcement in Central Florida as a married couple. And you cannot tell me there's a conflict of interest there. You cannot tell me there's not a conflict of interest with them, with her being the rep of my neighborhood and then him being the Orange County mayor. You cannot tell me there's not a conflict of interest.
Yes. And I read several stories about different problems and issues that she had as a sheriff down there. With a couple of suspects. I'm sorry. As the police chief down there and a couple of suspects. I can't remember the story right now, but yes, I do recall hearing and reading about all of this nonsense down there. And she's supposedly trying to run for governor, or is she one of the people that's running for governor?
No, she's running for Senate. She's trying to beat Marco
Senate,
Rubio.
That's what I meant. Yeah, Senate, not governor. So she's going up against Marco Rubio. He's going to destroy her. I don't know if he'll win, but I know she's not going to beat him. Like, what does she believe in? What is she?
She's a Democrat.
He's a police officer. Like, you're a black overseer. Like, what does that do? Like, I don't have. And then Eric Adams is about to be the face of the police state. Have you been hearing? He's going to be the face of all of this police action that about to inflict pain on the black people, on Black America, and he's going to be the face. He's the coon that's going to be saying all the stuff about the police state with a black face. We need to do. He was just saying this. The community is like this because y'all that believe in this. He's already saying this kind of stuff. The coon Adams. That's what I'm going to call him.
He's coontastic.
Yes, exactly.
look, and that's the thing. And you know what? I love what Sabby Sab said. Sabby says that when you're black and you become a police officer, you're a police officer first and you're black second.
Yep.
That's just how it is. But yeah, so that's Orlando, Florida. That is the healthcare system as we see it in the United States. And that is the JB show for today.
That was a good little transition there.
Right? I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. I'm going to give you some pancakes afterwards for that one. But by the way, what's for lunch, CJ?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm gonna have to get something because my wife, I don't even know if you saw, gave 3 people a kiss real quick. My wife and 2 girls went to visit family, and it's like an hour away, so they left to do that. So I'm on my own. So peanut butter and jelly, some.
No. Here's what you do, CJ. I got a suggestion. Right? It's Sunday. Relax. Get on your recliner. Get some chicken wings, bruh. Just if you do get chicken wing, get some hot wings and eat a piece from me. Get the drumette, just one, and eat one from me. Be like, this is for JB, and
Well, dude, we actually have some wings. I just have to take them out the freezer. We actually have some.
No. Just order some, dude. You're
oh, you're talking about that. I thought you meant like grill some, but yeah, I can definitely order some. But I heard there's a shortage. in wings. I haven't personally found it. You know what I found? I'm hearing all these shortages. Where I'm at, there's no shortage. There's no empty shelves, and that's because I live literally 20 minutes from the Long Beach port. So anything that's, you know what I mean, like we get the stuff first, because I saw the picture that Nick put up, and I'm like seeing shelves, like whole shelves are freaking empty. But so yeah, I'm just, I don't know why I thought of that, but I'm just lucky that, you know, where I live, that's none of that is hitting me.
Well, meat
so
has went up extremely expensive. You know, it's like $30 just to feed a family of 2 or 3 from Popeyes. You know,
What?
meanwhile, you can still feed a family of 10 on $2.99 from Church's Chicken, by the way. But
that's death chicken. I heard it tastes good, but I heard
yo. Look, if you from the hood, you know Church's Chicken comes in clutch. When you really don't feel like cooking, but you only got a couple of nickels to rub together, you'll take your ass down to Church's Chicken and you get some good eating there. Yeah. Believe me.
Churches, they still got a few. It's not a lot of them left, but where I'm at, there's probably like 3 locations I can think of. One of which is actually in a white neighborhood. I was surprised about that. I'm like,
there's a Church's in a white neighborhood?
Yes, I was surprised. It's in the cut now. It's not like by another. It's just kind of like an old one too. It's real old. It's like it had to have been built in like the 70s or something like that. It's like real old. So it's been, maybe it used to be maybe it's been gentrified in that area, and it used to be a different race in that area, but now it's all white, and it is it's a Church's Chicken there.
I have never seen a Church's Chicken in a white neighborhood in my life. Ever.
But the people in line is all Black and Mexican, by the way. You go to the line, it's just Black and Mexican people in line.
You can take the churches out of the Black neighborhood, but you can't take the Black neighborhood out of the churches.
They find it. And there's one by my mom. There's one by right by my mom's house. You can walk to. Yeah, man. Church's Chicken is a classic. Good chicken, but it's extremely bad for you. Like, you can open it and you'll see the grease kind of just fall out, but it tastes delicious.
Yep. You're gonna be needing some wet wipes after that meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know what they do to that crust, but they do something to it.
But them biscuits though.
Yeah. Here we are going off on this. You making me hungry. I'm about to, and it's actually lunchtime over here. It's 12:30, so I'm about to be eating something soon as I get off here. I do want you to help me when we get off. I want you to help me. Just show me how to do Rockfin, because I need to start doing my content on Rockfin.
Okay, all right.
Log in and all that stuff when we get off of here. Yeah,
it's easy. I'll show you. But yeah, everybody, you know, just if you got churches in your area and you broke, go to Church's Chicken.
Oh,
tell them JB sent you. It won't do nothing for you, but just tell them that JB sent you anyway. So
I accidentally hit that. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good. All right, everybody. So I just want to let you guys know, please remember to hit the like. And if you're not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you subscribed? You guys need to subscribe. Do it now. And you know, if you guys would like to contribute to our oh my God, I almost said something different. To our Patreon. See, I'm hungry. Contribute to our Patreon if you're new, and please make sure to sip some water and smoke them if you got them.
If you got them.
If you got them. Do what I said. Smoke them if you got them. Take a few puffs of me, baby.